There is a silent law of nature that determines who we truly respect and who we simply tolerate. Have you ever noticed that the tallest mountains do not shout about their height, and the deepest oceans do not brag about their depth? We often think that the more we talk about our wins, the bigger we become in the eyes of others. But the mystery of human connection is quite the opposite. The more you try to prove your worth with your words, the less value people see in your soul. A truly valuable person is like a diamond hidden in the earth. It does not need a spotlight to be precious, and it does not need a voice to be noticed. In a village surrounded by ancient trees and the scent of fallen blossoms lived a young man named Advait. Advait was a person of many talents. He was a skilled craftsman who created beautiful things from wood and metal. He was successful and lived in a house that was much larger than those of his neighbors. However, Advait had one great habit that overshadowed all his skills. He could not stop talking about his achievements. Every time he finished a project, he would tell everyone in the village how hard he had worked and how no one else could have done it better. He wanted to feel big, and he wanted everyone to see him as a hero. But despite his success, Advait felt a strange coldness in his life. When he walked into the village square, people would suddenly find a reason to look away or walk in a different direction. At dinners, when he started to speak about his latest gold coins, the room would grow quiet, and his friends would slowly leave the table. He felt psychologically heavy, as if he were carrying the weight of his own ego. He was confused because he thought that sharing his greatness would bring him friends and admiration. Instead, it was building a wall between him and the world. He felt like a king with a crown, but no kingdom to love him. One evening, Advait went to a quiet temple courtyard where the ground was covered in soft white petals. He met an old teacher who was sitting near a massive bronze bell. Advait began to tell the teacher about his many successes, hoping for a word of praise. The teacher listened in silence and then stood up. He pointed to the great bell and handed Advait a heavy wooden hammer. "I want you to ring this bell so that the entire valley can hear your strength," the teacher said. Advait took the hammer with a smile. He swung it with all his might and struck the bronze bell. To his shock, there was no sound. Only a dull thud echoed through the air. Advait tried again and again, hitting the metal harder each time, but the bell remained silent. Advait looked at the teacher in frustration. "This bell is broken," he cried. The teacher smiled and reached inside the bell, showing Advait that the clapper, the heavy metal piece that strikes the sides from within, had been removed. "A bell that is full of itself or missing its heart cannot ring," the teacher whispered. He then led Advait to a small bowl of pure gold sitting on a stone. He asked Advait to strike the gold. It made a soft, beautiful, and lasting hum. The teacher explains that the emptiest vessel always makes the loudest noise when it tries to speak. But true gold does not need to shout to prove its value. When you talk too much about yourself, you are like a bell without a heart, making a noise that no one wants to hear. True humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. Advait realized that his loud ego was actually a sign of his inner emptiness. He understood that quiet confidence is much more attractive than a loud voice. In our modern world of 2026, we are taught to post every win and every meal on social media for the world to see. We think that if we do not show our success, it does not exist. But the real hack for a peaceful and respected life in 2026 is to let your work speak for itself. Try this simple experiment. The next time you achieve something great, do not post it immediately. Do not tell your friends right away. Let the success live inside you for a few days. You will find that the internal joy of your win is much stronger than the temporary likes of strangers. As you move through your career and your life today, remember that personal branding is about the value you provide,
not the noise you make. In a world where everyone is shouting for attention, the person who stays quiet and does excellent work becomes a mystery that everyone wants to solve. You do not need to be the bell that rings for attention. You must aim to be the gold that shines with a steady and quiet light. When you stop trying to be big, you finally have the space to become truly great. Your value is found in your silence and your service. Be the gold, not the bell.